You're probably sitting in your cave right now, solving the same problem over and over again that thousands of other MSP owners have already figured out. And the reason you don't know their solutions? You're isolated. Here's the deal. I've been running free masterminds for MSP owners for almost 12 years now. Not because I'm some altruistic saint, but because I learned something critical early in my career. The fastest way to get to the next level in your business is to get out of your cave and connect with other like-minded MSP owners. Look, I get it. You started this business because you're good with technology, not because you wanted to become a networking guru. But here's what's killing your growth. Every challenge you are facing, from service delivery headaches to scaling problems, someone in your exact situation has already solved it. The problem isn't that solution doesn't exist. The problem is you're trying to figure it out alone. And I promise you, when you stay isolated, you're paying what I call a loneliness tax. On every business decision, you spend months reinventing wheels that other MSPs perfected years ago. You make expensive mistakes that could have been avoided with one conversation. And worst of all, you stay trapped in the 60-hour work week because you never learn how successful MSPs actually synthesize their way out. Point number one, why most MSP communities are just sales pitches in disguise. Let me tell you what's broken about most MSP forums and the communities out there. You walk into these events, you join these online groups, and within 5 minutes, someone's trying to sell you their latest PSA tool or their revolutionary backup solution. It's not community, it's a vendor feeding frenzy. I've watched MSP owners get burned by this over and over. They're desperate for real connections. They pay thousands to join these exclusive peer groups, only to discover it's just a more expensive way to get pitched to. The research backs it up too. MSP owners are reporting massive frustration with existing communities. One owner on Reddit said it perfectly. Every MSP community is just a thinly veiled sales pitch. Small MSPs especially feel excluded from industry events dominated by big players with big budgets. Here's what this means for you. You need to build your own circle, because when you control the group, you control the agenda. And the agenda should be simple, sharing real solutions to real problems, not just listening to vendor pitches. I've been to Channel Pro, Channel Con, ASCII, all these events. And sure, there's value there, but you know what happens? You spend 3 days getting bombarded with sales pitches, maybe have 2 meaningful conversations if you're lucky, and then you go home with a bag full of vendor swag and no real solutions to your actual problems. This is exactly why I started running my free mastermind 12 years ago. No vendors allowed, no sales pitches, just MSP owners talking about real challenges and real solutions. And you know what? That's when the magic happens. That's when you actually get to the next level. Point number 2, the cave problem. Why isolation is killing your growth. I call it the cave problem, and here's how it works. You get so buried in your day-to-day technical fires that you've lost perspective on the bigger picture. You're solving problems in isolation that other MSPs solved years ago. Let me give you a real example. I was coaching an MSP owner recently, spending 3 months trying to figure out a service delivery process. 3 months burning through resources, stressing his team, missing family dinners. Then he finally talked to another MSP owner at one of my masterminds and discovered there's a proven framework that takes 2 weeks to implement. 2 weeks versus 3 months. That's the cost of isolation right there. But here's what isolation really costs you. Expensive learning curves you could bypass, missed opportunities for strategic pivots, and no accountability to push you towards the next level. You're essentially paying a loneliness tax on every business decision. Research shows that 98% of entrepreneur members rate the motivational benefits of mastermind groups as valuable or extremely valuable. One member saved $200,000 in marketing spend just by restructuring his approach with group feedback. That's not just networking, that's transformational. And by the way, if you want my free guide on 10 reasons your IT service delivery sucks and how to fix it, check out the link at mannypalachuk.com/10 reasons. It breaks down the most common service delivery problems I see MSP struggling with in isolation. But when you get connected with the right people, and I'm going to show you exactly how to find them, everything changes. Suddenly you're not reinventing the wheel. You're building a proven foundation. You're implementing systems that work, not theories that might work. Point 3, the 4-person formula that started my coaching empire. Let me tell you how this really works, because I lived it. Way back when my brother Carl and I decided to get into coaching, it wasn't some grand plan. It was just 2 guys saying, hey, let's figure this out together. Just 2 guys in a mastermind. Then Carl says, I know this guy Richard. Boom, now we're 3. Then we bring in Dave. Now we're 4. And here's the magic. With 4 people, you hit the sweet spot where you have enough diverse perspective to solve real problems, but it's still small enough that everyone gets real attention. But here's the critical part that most people miss. We protected that group. We didn't just let anyone in, because one time waster, one person who's not committed to growth, and your whole dynamic gets poisoned. I've seen it happen. You get someone in there who's just wants to complain, who's not serious about getting to the next level, and suddenly your mastermind becomes a pity party instead of a growth accelerator. That little 4-person group, it became the foundation for everything I built afterward. The connections, the insights, the accountability, it all traces back to that core group of like-minded people who were serious about continuous incremental improvement. And here's what's beautiful about starting with just 2 people. There's no pressure. You're not trying to organize some massive event. You're not dealing with scheduling conflicts for 20 people. It's just you and one other MSP owner saying, let's help each other get to the next level. Point 4, how to build your own 1 million connection network, starting with just 1 person. Here's my exact framework for building what I call the million connection strategy. And yes, I'm literally working towards 1 million meaningful business connections. I'm proud probably at several thousand now, maybe close to 10,000, but it all started with one. First, you need to identify the right people. When you go to events like Channel Pro, ASCII, or even local meetups, you're looking for special signals. Not just they're in the MSP business, but when you talk to them, things connect. You walk away thinking, this person is sharp. They're going to be in business for the next 10 to 20 years. No problem. Versus the others who you talk to and think, this is a time bandit. It's a waste of time. I don't even know how they got started in business, and I don't think they're going to be in business tomorrow. You know the type. They're the ones complaining about everything but never implementing anything. Then you make the ask. It's simple. Hey, let's start a mastermind group. Don't overthink it. It might just be 2 of you at first. That's exactly how mine started. You meet monthly, maybe over Zoom if you're not local. You share real challenges, real solutions. Here's how it grows. You start with your core group, 2 to 4 people. You meet regularly. I do mine monthly. You share real challenges, real solutions, and naturally, each person knows other sharp MSP owners. The network expands organically, but always with intention. This isn't just about solving today's problem. It's about building a network that compounds over time. Every connection leads to more connections. Every solution shared prevents dozens of expensive mistakes. Every relationship becomes a resource for the next challenge. And look, if you're thinking, Manny, I don't even know where to start finding these people, reach out to me. I run a free ad hoc mastermind every month. It's a great way to dip your toes in, see how it works, maybe meet the first person who becomes your mastermind partner. Here's what I haven't told you yet. Finding the right people is only half the battle. You need to know how to structure these masterminds so they actually produce results instead of just turning into complaining sessions. Because there's a special framework for running these groups that separates game changers from the time wasters. But here's what we've covered today. Most MSP communities are vendor sales pitches in disguise. Isolation is costing you time, money, and growth opportunities. The solution isn't complicated. It's finding 2 to 4 like-minded MSP owners and committing to regular connections. You can start with just one other person and build from there. When you implement this 4-person formula, you're not just solving today's problems faster, you're building a network that compounds over time, turning every challenge into a shared resource and every connection into a growth multiplier. The bottom line is this: you've got to get out of your cave. You've got to talk with other like-minded individuals. And when I say like-minded, I don't just mean that they're in the same business as you are. When you chat with them, things have to connect. Now that you understand why connection is critical and how to start building your network, watch this video next where I break down the exact meeting structure that transforms MSP owners into CEOs.